Hey guys. Woo woo. Happy Wednesday. Sweet. I'm just going to wait. There's a few people just jumping on and then we'll get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's recording. Sweet. There's just a few more people jumping on, then we'll start. Bryce is here. Awesome. Wyatt. Awesome. Okay, Bryce, there's still a few people jumping on, but I already made you host. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. This is going to be so much amazing help. It's going to be so much help and it's going to be amazing information. It might be a lot coming at you, but just know that it's recorded and I will send the recording out, as well as Bryce has been so helpful with all of my questions. So don't hesitate to ask anything that you want in the chat to get clarification on. And we will make sure that you understand it fully. And he is going to take us through it, and it should be crystal clear by the end of it. And I'm just super excited to have this resource right in our back office for us to start using right away. So you go ahead, Bryce. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, it's my pleasure. So hello, my name is Bryce Brownlow. I am the founder and CEO of Shout. And so we are super excited about the new integration that we just did with Zaya. And so what I'm wanting to cover tonight is actually really just focus on kind of the functionality that comes along with the integration and what that means for you and with your Shout accounts. And then what I'd love to do is hop on with you guys later, either in a week or two from now, where we can kind of go deeper. But what we're going to be covering tonight in this call is I'm going to be showing you, if you haven't already, first how to get your Zaya account connected to your Shout account. And what that's going to enable is, one, that will allow you to import all of your orders into your Shout account. And then two, if you set up a paid subscription on Shout, that would then give you a phone number. And that means anytime you have a customer make a purchase or an order, Shout will then automatically send follow-up text messages to your customers. And so what we're going to be covering tonight is, again, talking through how do we connect, Shout and Zaya back office together, and then how do we set up those automated follow-up messages. And so what's really great is I got to spend a few minutes with Sarah before hopping in the call and getting some of her things set up. She has a really fantastic drip campaign system that she sends out via email that she's just also converted over into text. And so she's going to be sharing that with all of you so that you guys can all be following the same process. Now, that does not mean that you have to do it her way, but I think it's a really great campaign and she has it set up really well. And so I'm going to be going through and showing you in her account how to get those campaigns Okay, sorry, I got muted there. So it will show you, I'm going to show you how to get those connected onto there. So then it can start automatically firing off text messages to your customers. And then from there, I'll just briefly show you what customer orders look like inside of Shout. And then I think at that point, I hope to spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes kind of walking through that. And at that point, if people are kind of tapping out or your heads are spinning, that's probably where we'll then, kind of hit pause on it. We can take questions and do that. And then again, we can set up another follow-up call and we can go through things in further detail. But just rest assured for everybody, Shout isn't going anywhere, right? So if you're like, hey, but how does texting work, or how does this work, or how do all these other pieces, we can go through and talk about that stuff. But tonight, mostly what we want to focus on is just how do we get your account set up? So then that way we can work on getting your orders imported, and now immediate follow-up starting to go out to your customers. So does that sound fair to everybody? Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and Sarah gave me permission just to actually kind of share her Shout account. And so we're actually going to show it straight from here, and we're going to connect some of this in real time. Now, if some of you, and Sarah, did you actually send the link out to people prior to the call? Okay. So if some of you have clicked on it, there's one thing. I don't know if you went in and actually did your returning customer drip campaign just yet. So if you haven't yet, one of the steps that I'm going to show everybody is we're going to have you not import the return customer drip campaign just yet. We're going to wait until she has that finished. We'll have you import it so then it's actually completed. But what we're going to do first is, and again, this might be easier kind of just by show of hands. I know not everyone has their camera turned on, but for the most part, has everybody already signed into the Zaya back office and clicked on the button that says Shout and connected their Shout accounts? Okay. Sure. Okay, cool. So it looks like most people have. So briefly, for those who haven't yet, it's pretty straightforward. What we're going to have you do is you're going to log into your Zaya back office, and in the left-hand navigation menu, you're going to see a little, button that says Shout, and there's, like a little blip next to it that shows that it's I think it says new. So you're going to click that. And then there's just a little, kind of frame in the middle that's then going to show where you can actually start getting Shout connected. And so you're going to go through a series of little buttons on there that, have you connect your orders, import your past orders. It's going to have you create an account. And then right inside of there, it's going to prompt you to upgrade your Shout account. Now, just so everybody's aware, you do not have to set up a paid Shout account. However, if you want to be able to do the texting portion of this, you do need to upgrade to a paid Shout account. So just want everybody to know on there, you are not forced to pay for an account. Shout accounts are free, and you can still import your orders into your Shout account. You can still do team communication and DMs and group chats and things like that for free. But if you want the customer texting, you will need to set up a paid plan. The one that works best on here is going to be the basic, the pro, or the business plan. So I would recommend doing like the monthly basic plan. So if you're looking at it when it shows pricing, it's going to show $15 a month if you pay annually, meaning you pay upfront, or it's $18 a month if you pay monthly. And there's a little toggle where you can go between the two. So again, for those of you who haven't connected your Shout account already, you're going to need to go through there. It's about like 5 or 6 clicks that you're going to do. And once you've done that, it's then going to pop you into your Shout account. You can do this from your phone, or you can do it from the web. So I'm showing it here from my computer. And again, if it's easier for people, I can also show on the phone the very same thing that we're going to go through. So now we've kind of talked about that. First thing I'm going to do is once you're inside of your Shout account, we're going to have you go to your settings. And so you get to settings by clicking on your account picture here. So if you're in the mobile app, it's in the top left, you'll see your picture. You'll tap that and hit settings. If you're on the web, you're just going to click on your account button there. We'll click on settings. And then we're going to click on the secondary navigation button that says services. So I'm going to scroll down here where it then says Zaya Active. And from here, this is where, as mentioned, now that this is connected on Sarah's account, there's a couple different paths you can take. Path number 1, this is a pre-filled message that corporate typed out, right? That says, hey, contact first name. So this would be a message that gets sent to your customer whenever they place an order. So, hey, thank you so much for your Zaya order. Once it ships, you'll get an email with the tracking link. I appreciate you supporting my small business. And then it's going to, kind of sign with your first name on there. So this is something that if you want, you can go in and you can customize this message and change anything that you want to make it sound more like you. And if that's as far as you want to go, you would hit save changes, and then you're done. That's it. Now from here on out, if people if people place an order, they're going to receive this text from you, and it's going to show that. However, as mentioned, Sarah has a really great follow-up system that she's put together that works really well. And so I would actually recommend going a little bit further. And so this is something I'll show you how to import these pieces. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to connect the things that she has built and created for you. I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to uncheck the button that says send automatically. So we're actually going to kind of work around having this message sent. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit save changes. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to add a couple of what we call conditional actions. And so the first one here is going to be for all of our new customers, meaning someone who has placed their very first order. And what we're going to do here, since they're a brand new customer of ours, the Zaya system and the Shout system know that this is their first order with you. So what we want to do is we're going to say, great, since they're a new customer, Sarah's put together a really great drip campaign for first customers. And what a drip campaign is, it's just a series of scheduled messages that kind of send on a frequency of your choosing. So in this case, hers sends over, I think, is it like 16 or 17 days, Sarah? So over like 16 or 17 days, it's going to send them 4 different messages. And I'll show you guys that here in a second. So we're going to go ahead and select our customer service number because that's the phone number it's going to be sending through. And we'll click on add action. The other things that we're going to do here is when these customers come in, Sarah's put together a couple of tags and lists for you that are going to help sort and organize your contacts, whether they're on your team, whether they're your customers, a new customer, or a returning one. So on here, since they're brand new, what we're going to do is we're going to at first have the Shoutbot assign them to your customers list. So we're going to click add action. And then we're going to click on more actions, and we're also going to have it add a new customer tag onto this contact profile. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and click add. And then on here, this might be something, and Sarah, this is in your account, so I'm going to ask you a preference. When would you like the campaign to begin after their order? Do you want it to go out maybe 5 or 10 minutes after they've placed their order? Okay, so on here, we'll say, great. We're going to say 5 minutes after they've placed their order. It's going to then start this customer follow-up drip campaign that I'll show you here in just a second. It's going to add them to your customers list in Shout and place a new customer tag on there. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of add a status piece. So these conditions on here, we're saying we want this to apply to all new customers, or so anytime someone's placed their first order with us. And we want the source to come from all of our orders. And the source is in this case going to be Zaya. And then the status is going to be once they have actually paid or checked out. Okay, so the only thing that you'll have to change here, these two are already kind of done by default. The thing that you'll have to change in here when you're setting yours up is marking the status as paid. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and click on save. So now that we have done that, right, we have our first conditional action set up. The second one would be for our return customers. And then we would go through the exact same steps. So on here, I'm going to set up one for our return customer. Since the drip campaign, she hasn't finished her second drip campaign yet, so I'm not going to hook it up to this just yet, but it will be here in a second. So when that's ready, you would click on the run drip campaign, and you would then select the returning customers one here. So you do returning customers, you check customer service for it to go through your customer service number, and add action. And then on here, again, we're going to click on more actions. And from here, we're going to assign them to our customers list in case they haven't been added to it already. Then we're going to hit another action on here, and we're actually going to then remove the new customer tag from our contact profile. So again, what that means is if they came in and made their first purchase, great, they get a tag and they get assigned to that list. And now if they've made a second purchase, we're going to have a Shoutbot say, cool, we're going to take that tag off. So now we know that this is a returning customer who's made multiple purchases with us. So we're going to have that set there. And then same thing, we're going to have this run 5 minutes after they have made their purchase. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and click on save. And now we have both of our automated campaigns set and ready to go. So I know that I've kind of been referencing things that some of you might be like, I have no idea what he's talking about. The nice part is I'm now going to show you the things that we're talking about. And so this is work that Sarah's already, done for you. So for most of you, what we're going to have you do on here is if you clicked on the link that she shared, when you came into Shout, and I'll show you this here really quick. So now that we have that, we'll click into the inbox here. So I clicked on the link, right? And so it said, hey, thanks so much for joining Shout, right? And then it provided a link here for a folder. So if you clicked on that link, it's then going to open up. And again, whether it's on your phone or on the web, it's going to open up this folder here. So in hers, this is her folder, and she already has these things in her account. In your case, this is where you're going to see the drip campaigns that we just set up. for new customers and our returning customers, and then our lists that we have and our tag. These are all things that you're going to want to import into your account. So again, Sarah will message you once she has the returning customers drip campaign completed. So what I would recommend is just, there's going to be a little button here on all of these rows. So you just want to tap import on each of these items. Okay, so once you've done that and they've imported, there's going to be two things that you need to do. The first thing that we want to do is we're going to want to go to your drip campaigns. And so if you've just imported it from here, you can then hit view. In your case, it'll say view the drip campaign. So we're going to click on view my drip campaign. And again, this is the series of messages that Sarah's put together and kind of done the legwork on it. So if this resonates with you, that's where I'd say, great, let's have you set it up and apply the same things. So two things that you need to do on this. Thing number one, you're going to click on the edit button. First thing that we want to do is we need to add a service. So when you import a drip campaign into Shout, it's not automatically going to assign the way that it gets sent out to people. So the first thing you need to do is you'll hit the edit button and you need to select a service. And so in this case, if you have, a customer service phone number in Shout, I'd recommend using that one. So you'll check the customer service button. Then you need to go through and review this, because in here it says this is Sarah, right? So you want to make sure that you put your own name in here. And then I would just read through this. I think she has really great verbiage in here. It reads really well and it feels very personable. But again, if this isn't your style or how you sound, I would just make sure that you go through and kind of craft it to sound like yourself. And then you can see in here in this second message that she's inviting them into her VIP Facebook group. So you want to make sure that you're also adding your Facebook link here. Okay. Couple things I want to point out here. Well, one is just kind of the cadence that she has lined out. So this very first message gets sent out 5 minutes after the person places their order. So that's where it's at. Thanks so much for your order. I appreciate it. I want you to know how pumped I am for you to get your Zaya stuff. The second message follows up 7 days after that. So 1 week after they've made their purchase, they're going to get this second message. If you want them to get it sooner, if you want them to get it later, you can adjust when it sends simply by changing this number here. So this is currently set to send out 7 days later at 10 a.m. Then 5 days after that, it's going to send this third message. Okay, same thing. You can change the time to send whenever you want. And then 5 days after that, it's then going to send this fourth. Okay, so this is a span of 17 days that this is going to run, right? So they're going to get 4 messages over the course of 17 days. And again, what's nice is this is a proven, tried and true campaign that Sarah's been running through her email, and it's been working. Right. So all that we've done here is we've converted it over to text, where we actually get even better open rates with our customers. So I think this reads really good. I would personally recommend doing it. And I say, hey, I think it's a fantastic idea. If this isn't something that you want to do, as mentioned, all you have to do is you can just leave the little box checked on the send automatically message from your settings, and you can set it and forget it. Okay. So the second thing I mentioned, there was 2 things you needed to do. So one was check the services. And I guess there was 3, so I lied. So it's check the services. Second thing is review and make any changes that you need to. And then the third thing is you want to click on this little active button. So I can pause this or I can activate this. So yours is going to be on paused when you import it into your account. So you'll just need to make sure that you click the active button. Once you've done that, you're going to click on the save button, and then you're set and ready to go. Okay. So after you've done that, you're then going to need to do the same thing on the returning customers drip campaign. So you'll just walk through those same steps. You're going to click on it, hit edit drip campaign. And again, she's working on getting these pieces added into here. So for you, you will select customer service, review the messages, make them sound like you, click active and hit save. And then you're all set. Okay. So how am I doing on speed? Pace on here, and is this making sense to everybody so far? Okay, so I'm getting head nods for the most part. Okay, so I think we're looking good on that front. So outside of that, I think kind of the last part that I want to show on here, and then again, we can open it up for questions, then we can kind of tap through and make sure that everybody is tracking on here, is being able to view orders. So there's 2 different ways that you can see your orders. The first way, the nice part is on here, there was already an order that went through. So Sarah actually got to see this in action. So she had, an order on Monday and then another order on Wednesday. So this was before we had actually applied these drip campaigns, right? So this was just the standard message that got sent out from Sarah to her customer, who's actually named Kara. So on here, this is where, you know, Kara got the text message on here, right? And what we can see is if we click on orders here, and again, if you're doing it from your mobile phone, you can just swipe, right? So if you swipe over to the left, you'll see at the top where it'll say, you know, conversation, and then it'll say profile, notes, activity, orders. So if you're on your phone, you can swipe over, and then you'll also be able to see this very same view here where we can look at our orders. So with this, she can click in and say, oh, okay, great. You know, this is exciting. I'm going to click on view. This is where we have our customers' info with their, you know, their address, their phone number, their email. The details show that this was already been invoiced and it's already been paid. Shows our order total, right? And then it shows our product info here, and with a little bit of history. Okay, so it's a quick way to be able to review your customers' orders and see what happens here. One thing that I do oftentimes recommend to people, if and I would say especially in the case of like a return customer, and Sarah, I'm going to kind of lean on you here for a second. I haven't seen your return customer drip campaign yet, so I don't know if it's, you know, 4 messages long or how long it is, or if it's a little bit shorter. But sometimes people like to go through, if they do a shorter, you know, campaign or just a single message when it's a returning customer, oftentimes people will go in and they might schedule a follow-up message for that specific order right here. So I could say, great, create a new follow-up message. And again, it's going to give you options where you could run a bot or a drip. In most cases, if someone's doing a follow-up, they're just going to hit send it like a single message. They'll type out their message, and either one, they're going to send it immediately by, you know, just hitting, you know, send now, or they can set it up to run after a shipping event, or they can schedule it. Okay, so again, if your head's kind of spinning right now, you're like, I don't know. The other really nice part about this is you don't even have to go into the order to do a follow-up. She could type a message right here to Kara, right? So it could be, hey, Kara, just checking in, right? And so that's something where she could hit the send button, or she could even schedule it straight from here to send out whenever she would like. Okay, so the really great part about Shout, and everyone asks this question a lot, so I'll just answer it here. Shout does work really great for two-way text communication. And we can also send big broadcast messages, meaning you could send one message and it could go out to thousands of people at a time, and it's going to come directly to them. And so anyway, so that's one area where I always try my best to make sure that this feels very personal. You are using a phone number that's going to have a local area code. So for the most part, people think that this is your personal number. This is you that they're texting. So I think the drip campaigns and having those as automated order pieces works really well to have that stuff automated. But then when it comes to one-on-one communication with your customers, this is you texting them directly. So that's where I'd say it's a-okay to sound like you, right? Don't be nervous to, be playful or fun or whatever. The only time that I say to try and reel it in is if you're doing like a big broadcast message, right? So, and I'll kind of jump into this for a second. We talked about our contacts. We said, hey, add someone to our contacts list, right? So we have a couple lists here. So the nice part is it looks like 8 of you have already clicked on the link, right? So we have a little automation that's added all of you who have clicked on it to a team list. So if Sarah wanted to send all of you a message, right, she could say, hey, she could send all of you an individual message. And in this case, since you're all in Shout, we can send it through Shout, so it won't cost anything. She can then fire off a broadcast and say, hey, right? She can send that out, and it's going to go out to everybody individually, right? So this is something where, once you have your customer list built out, or, and I'll teach in our next segment, I'm going to teach all of you how to build VIP text lists so you can do promotional texting. But once you have that kind of stuff and you do broadcasts, that's where you want to make sure that you keep in mind, if you're sending somebody a broadcast text message, that you're not sending a message that's a mile long or sounds spammy or looks like a Facebook post, right? Or anything like that. You do want to remember that if you're sending out a big blast, that you keep it short and you keep it sweet. So anyway, outside of that, I feel like those are kind of the very simple overall basics as far as how do we get Shout and Zaya connected? How do we customize the message that gets automatically sent out to our customers? And then we did do a little bit of work on here to then have it automatically sort people into our lists, right? Whether they're a new customer or a returning customer. So it then makes it easy for us to, 1, broadcast, and then 2, track the people that are coming in to Shout. So I'm going to go ahead and hit pause on that for a second. Sarah, do you want to chime in? Anything that I missed or that I may have skipped over?
No, I don't think so. I'm just trying to catch up, or just make sure questions are answered in the chat.
Oh, sorry, I
Do
wasn't even
we?
seeing those.
No, it's okay. Do we use our personal cell number, or is it a special Shout number? You have to you have to go through the steps on Shout, but you do put your phone number in, correct?
So you do enter your phone number for the registration, like when you're registering a phone number, but what you're doing is when you set up a Shout account, you're actually getting a new business phone number. So it won't be your personal phone number that you're giving out to people. So as you can see, like down here, this phone number is Sarah's Shout phone number. And again, it has a local area code. It looks like a personal number, right? But that is the beauty of this, is you're now not having to put your personal phone number on the internet and share that with the world. So, and then again, we usually get questions about, do my customers have to have the Shout app to get these messages? And the answer is no. So you will be texting them through the Shout app. They will be receiving it directly in their text inbox.
And then the next question is about the number of allowed messages. So most of us have Visly, where we use texting through that.
Okay.
And they're shutting it down. So this is perfect timing. However, if I send a broadcast message to 500 people, does that eat up the whole allotment for the month?
Great question. Yeah. So the way that it works, so if you were on the basic plan, right? So the basic plan does come with 500 automated outbound text messages. And the reason why I say automated outbound text messages is what is an automated outbound text message? If you're sending a broadcast, or if it's a drip campaign, or a scheduled message, or if it's a bot, those are what are going to count as automated outbound messages. So in the case that, Sarah was to send a big broadcast to 500 people, that would count as 500 outbound credits. If you go over that, all that we do is we just ask you to pick which your favorite finger is, and I'm teasing. All that we do on there is we just bill for extra text credits, and so we typically do that in blocks of 500 credits. And I'll show you here in your settings. You can go through and you can adjust that to bill for more or for less when it comes to setting up your texting on there. So with this, so you can have it go as low as saying, hey, buy 250 credits at a time, and that's $7.50. 500 is 15, 1,000 is 30, right? So this is where you can go through and you could say, great, if I go over on that, here's how much I would like it to buy on the next time. Any credits that aren't used during the month will roll over. And let's say that you purchased maybe like 5,000 credits, right? You don't have to use all those in the month. All of those are also going to roll over, and they're going to stick with your account. So great. And hopefully, did I answer your question on there, Sarah? If you were to send out a broadcast to 500 people? Okay.
I think so. And can we add a link such as Wix, or a link for newsletters or news releases, etc.?
100%. Yeah. And so let's show you what that looks like. So again, one, you can do that straight from your message composer, whether it's in, whether it's in the web or it's on, the mobile app, right? So the composer here is the same in both. So in here, you can throw images and files and, all sorts of things like that. We have different link helpers here inside of Shout. So you can create short links inside of Shout if you wanted, or you can just copy and paste standard links, from wherever they're at. So if you have a Wix one and you want to throw it in there to send them to a team page, you're more than welcome to. Again, all that would really require, like, I'll just grab a link here so you can see. I would just throw that right. Whoops, why is that doing that? Sorry, I'm clicking all over the place. There we go. So with that, you could just paste the link straight in, and you can fire it off with the body of your message, right? So that's just like this message here that you would see. So you can throw links in there, images, videos, anything like that. And then as far as length, it's going to be 1,024 characters. So if we were wanting to send something on there, like a drip, if you're looking in the drip campaign, it'll show a character count on that. When you have, the text selected, which I don't have my phone number in here, but when you have text selected, you'll see the little character count here in the upper right. And so that's where it'll let you know if you're getting close to your limit on how long your message is via text. So great question on there. So it says number of allowed messages. Do we need to set up the business? Okay, so Jill, on here where you're saying if you have like 6,000 on there, what I would recommend if you're sending out a message to 6,000 people at once, what I'd recommend is is like it, yes, at least upgrading to, even if it's just the pro plan. If you do the business plan, again, you get a little bit of a discount like on the messages themselves, you know, on like your base monthly messages. Each kind of grade you go up higher. But what I would recommend too is like, I'm happy to chat with you kind of offline and kind of help you get it set up. But in that case, if you're going to send it to 6,000 people at a time, I would recommend using a toll-free marketing number. So we have two different phone number types. We have a 10DLC, so it's our customer service number like this. And they're great if you're wanting to send messages up to, you know, to maybe, you know, maybe like 2,500 people at a time. If you're doing it, you know, if it's like, hey, I'm going to send it to, you know, anything more than 2,500 people at a time, then that's where, again, we're going to recommend utilizing the toll-free marketing number, just because you'll get faster throughput. And then you don't have limits on how many people you can message at once. So anyway, happy to chat that through with you. The toll-free marketing numbers come with the pro plan. So you don't have to have a business plan to be able to get that number. So hopefully that answers your question on there as far as needing to send that many. So hopefully that answers there. You get a phone number only if you're a paid Shout member. Yes. So Marlene, on there, you do need to set up a paid account to get the phone number. So that's really where our paywalls exist inside of Shout. If you have a paid account, it's then going to give you a phone number. It unlocks automations and landing pages inside of Shout. And again, for the Zaya integration, we have several plans. There's one plan that's like a pay-as-you-go, and it's like $6 a month for phone numbers. However, it doesn't include automations. And so that's where if you set up the pay-as-you-go, it's only going to do the automated message that's directly from Zaya. You wouldn't be able to do drip campaigns or bots or anything on that plan. So that's where I would recommend, if you're wanting to do the drip campaigns as follow-ups and those types of automations, I would recommend doing the basic plan. And then let's see. Okay, and then Mandy, Mandy, I'm going to send you, I can send you a message on there as far as like the area codes in your state. So we can chat about that. I don't know, like, are you in the US or are you in Canada?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Ontario. And I
Okay.
realized that Ontario, it's like that for Ontario, but if I do PEI or Nova Scotia, it will let me. So it's
Yes.
kind of weird.
Yeah, so I can look in and we can put it on a wait list. We've had Ontario is like literally like out of numbers right now. Like they're like trying to buy blocks. And so we can put it on a waiting list. And usually it takes like 24 to 48 hours for one to open up. So again, I can message you directly and we can get our support on them with you and we can help you get that portion.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Very welcome. Okay, so the customer service number, so I missed this, customer service, our new business number. Yes. So, and I hope I'm not saying it wrong if it's Dara or Dara, but yes, the customer service number is your new business number on there. And then as far as the, you know, what is a bot versus a drip or automation? So Shout has a lot of different automation types. The things that we've covered and talked about today are drip campaigns, but Shout does have other automations. We have like recurring events that are going to send messages into group chats or broadcasts on a repeating or, you know, cyclical basis. And then we have drip campaigns, or sorry, we have bots here. Bots are going to be things where they're conversational. So you can automate things like, in our next training, we'll go through and I'll teach you how to set up a VIP text list where people can text in and the bot will say, it'll respond for you. Hey, what's your name? What's your email? Great. What's your favorite color? Where do you live? Like it, you know, bots can do that kind of stuff. And it'll populate and fill your customer profile. Again, we have people do surveys. We have people do a lot of things with bots. And so we'll do a full training that goes through that. But I think when it comes to customer follow-up and kind of the use case that we're getting set up here, just drip campaigns and broadcast messages are going to be your best friend for this specific use case. So hopefully that answers the question there as far as kind of the drip versus automations or bots. And then let's see here. So if you're in Canada and set up the Shout paid basic plan on our Canadian Zaya account, if we want to send to our US customers, do we need another basic plan? Great question, Amanda. You don't need to set up another plan. And I'll just kind of expand on that. So what she's asking is, hey, if I have a Canadian account, and I have customers in the US. Do I need to set up a Canadian phone number, and do I need to set up a US phone number? So the really nice part for those that are in Canada, right? If you have a Canadian number and you're doing texting and things in Canada, it works great. And you can also text people in the US with that number, and you're not going to have any deliverability issues. However, if you're in the States, right, and you have Canadian customers, Canadian carriers don't, they don't always deliver US business phone number texts to their downstream recipients. And so they've got different privacy laws in Canada than we have in the US. And so that's just one thing to keep in mind. It does not mean that you cannot text your customers in Canada. It just means that if you're a US phone number texting folks in Canada, delivery isn't 100%, right? Sometimes it's a little hit and miss sometimes, depending on who their carrier is and where they're at. So just be sure to keep that in mind. But fantastic question on there. No one has to have 2 different Shout accounts set up to be able to message people in different places in North America. So hopefully that answers that one. Cool. All righty. So I think, and hopefully I didn't miss any questions on here, but these are really great questions. Let's see if there's any more on there. And just as far as kind of how we're doing on time here, Sarah, are you wanting me to, actually, is Sarah still here? Did she drop?
Sarah had to run upstairs. She
okay,
asked me to kind of finalize the call if that's
okay. Cool.
Sorry.
So yeah, this is totally fine. So my question for everyone, honestly, is actually just, I want to make sure that that this is making sense and that it's not feeling really scary or nerve-wracking. We're putting together, we already have Help Center articles and things that walk people through this, but we're actually putting together kind of like a new section of our Help Center that is dedicated just to the Zaya integration, where it's then going to kind of have some steps that will walk you through things. So I don't know what kind of the best form is for everybody here, but I'm more than happy to also, I know that we have the recording, but also happy to do kind of a simple write-up that's just hey, here's the steps that you need to do to get things set up and put together. And one thing is we are more than happy to jump on and do team trainings. Our support is very helpful. So if you feel stuck or scared or nervous, or you don't know what to do, you can always message Shout support, and they're more than happy to jump in and help you get everything that we just went through set up and integrated into your account. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that, so no one's feeling overwhelmed or stressed out about kind of what their next steps are going forward. So I'm just going to give a quick review on that, which is one, since you've all clicked on the link with her, there's going to be a link to that folder. And again, I'll show you what that looks like here. So we're going to click on this, and until she messages you saying that the returning customer's drip is finalized, I wouldn't import it, but I would import all of these other items. Once you've imported those items, right, the first thing we're going to have you do is go to the drip, and you can click this little message here, and then it will say, if you're looking at it, I think it says like view imported record. Hers says view my drip campaign. So we'll click on that and it will take you here. You need to activate the drip. You need to assign the service, which would be the new customer service number you just set up. And then you just need to review the messaging on here. So one, replace your link, add your name, and then just make sure that the verbiage sounds like you or how you want it. And you'll click save. You're going to repeat those same things for the returning customer's drip once that's ready. And then once that's done, this is then we're going to go into your settings. And so we go under settings, and then we go to services. We click on Zaya Active. This is what we covered at the very beginning of the call. This is where, again, if you want the drip campaigns to run, you will uncheck the send automatically button. You will click on save, and then you're going to add your conditional actions. And so just so you see what it looks like, again, you'll click the blue plus button. First one that you're going to do is the new customer. And with this, I'll show you what we clicked on that. So you click the new customer, and then we added the run drip campaign, which is the new customers one. We added an action that adds these people to our customers list. And we added a third action that says add the new customer tag. We updated the frequency to send 5 minutes after they have purchased or placed their order. And then we hit save. So once you've done that, you'll repeat those same steps for the returning customer, and then you're done. So from there, as orders start coming in, it's automatically going to start running these follow-ups for you. So hopefully that's feeling clear for everyone. And again, if you're nervous or stressed out or confused, you can find me on Shout. You can hit the little search bar and you can type in Bryce from Shout, and that's me. You'll also have Shout support right here in your inbox. You can message support, and they're probably the quickest to respond. My account gets blown up all the time, and so we have multiple people that manage support and just me that manages mine. So you're welcome to add me. You're welcome to send me messages. If I'm slow to respond, I would recommend messaging support. They're a little bit quicker on the draw there. So before we conclude, any other questions that I missed? Oh, let's see here. It says, did I answer mine about contacts? Tara, sorry, I didn't know what your question was about contacts.
Oh, I just was saying that I signed up on Monday, I believe, and have a paid membership, and I don't see all my contacts or
orders just yet.
Or orders yet. I know they said it could take up to 48 hours. I just haven't seen those yet. I know I can upload myself, but that just got a little clunky. I did it and then I just deleted them because it just seemed to get a little clunky doing it myself.
Yeah, so what I would recommend on here, so we've had several people asking. Unfortunately, it's not under my control on here. This is the imports actually happening on Zaya corporate side. And so
Gotcha.
in here, all of you are automatically added into the Zaya integration chat when you join. So on here, corporate message in today just saying, hey, we're still working on the import for the past orders. Sorry for the delay. So I know that they're working around the clock right now, trying to get all of that finalized on their side to push it over. And again, as mentioned, like what Tara said, is if you're like, hey, I've got to get all my contacts in now, and if it's feeling clunky on how to get that done, message support and we can help you with your contact upload and getting people in. But fingers are crossed. We're hoping that that Zaya has all of this wrapped up here within the next day or so that all of those things can get imported into, excuse me, on the hiccups. So all of your things can get imported into your account.
Perfect. That makes total sense. I should have known it was a Zaya thing, not you guys.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just they've got a ton of moving parts in their system, and so I know that they're working hard to get that lined out. And once they have it, then it'll pop in, and then you'll be ready to rock and roll. So do apologize for the delay.
Oh no problem at all. I just wanted to make sure I didn't do something wrong setting something up.
Well, and quite frankly, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I think a lot of people have signed up to like, okay, like why is nothing there? So that's another thing. We may be seeding accounts with like dummy orders, just so people can see what it looks like when they first get in. Because I know that it is a little hard if you get into your account, you're like, I can't even see my orders. Like, what the heck? Right. So you can view your orders again from the inbox, like right with the customer conversation, or you can just click on the orders button in your left-hand menu if you're on web. If you're doing it from your phone, you'll tap on account and then services, and then there will be a little orders button, and you can tap orders and then it will pull up your orders view. So in here, this is where you can see
I'm sorry.
things here.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh, you're just fine. So that's where, again, you can see stuff right here with all of your orders. And again, as these get imported, it will then also, add those people as contacts for you.
Perfect. And I have noticed that new orders since I signed up are showing in there.
Yes, new orders. The second they populate, they're immediate. It's the past orders that are a little bit more of a lift on the Zaya side. So they're working on getting that streamlined so they come in a little bit quicker.
Yeah, no problem. I was actually quite pleased with how fast the new orders came in. I could see them pretty much instantly. So that was great.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. I love that. So anything else that anyone needs me to answer or cover before we close the meeting? Okay. Well, thank you all. And again, I'll type my username here. So there we go. I'll throw that in there. So if anyone wants to add me directly into Shout, you're more than welcome to chat with me there. And again, I will have Sarah send out a quick little write-up and a message letting everyone know once the returning customer drip campaign is ready. And then everyone should be set. So really excited to hear what all of you think about this. And that's the other nice part, right? Is this is a very new integration, right? So please bear with us, be patient. If there's little bugs or little things, we apologize, but we're trying very hard to be as responsive as possible and be quick with that. But that's the other great part, is being that this is new. We absolutely love feedback, right? So this is where it's very helpful for us to hear or know if someone's like, hey, like it would be really great to have this in, or we really need to have XYZ. All of that is driven by user feedback. And as an example, like we have filters in our contacts table, and we had several people say, hey, I really need to be able to sort my contacts table by SKU, right? Or I need to be able to, see, and again, this part hasn't come in here yet. This is where we're kind of waiting on Zaya to punch this part in, but this is where it's cool. We're like, hey, I need to be able to sort all of my customers or all of my orders by SKU number. So if anyone's bought this top or this SKU, then give me that list so I can fire a message off to them. And then order counts and last order created between these dates. So all of that has come from user feedback. So please send your feedback, whether it's in the Zaya integration chat or whether it's to corporate or just directly to us here at Shout. We are working our hardest to compile all of that and make it an even better experience for everybody. So really do appreciate everyone taking the time to hop on and go through this with me. We're excited about it.
I'm going to just jump in and thank you, Bryce, so much. It was passed off to Allie. Allie went through some poor connection. So I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to speak with us. This is a really exciting tool. But yeah, lots of information. I think you're going to really get to know us over the next bit.
Which, yeah, we absolutely love.
But I've heard that you and your team have been super, super helpful to anyone that's been having any glitches or any questions. So thank you so much for meeting with us. And we definitely be in contact, I'm sure.
Hey, yes. Yeah. Don't be shy. And again, if we're a little slow to respond, it's not because we don't care. We have hundreds of thousands of people on the platform. And so as people reach out, the second they reach out, we do our very best to plug through. So with this is a big priority for us. We're super excited about the launch, and because it's a really big game changer for people. So we want to make sure that you're up and on your feet and running as quickly as possible. So I know that I said, hey, 10 or 15 minutes. I think for the most part, the setup, honestly, for most of you, it might take 10, maybe 15 minutes to actually go through the steps that we did. So if you're hitting a wall on there, you're like, I don't get it. Again, rewatch the video, look at that segment. And if you're stuck or it's just not clicking, message support, message me, and we'll make sure that we hop on and walk you through it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And this recording will go out to each of the teams that are watching. The write-up would be fantastic also, Bryce. I did see in the chat that some people did feel that would be useful as well. But we look forward to working with you and getting this all up and running. Thanks so much.
Right. It's my pleasure. Thank you all for being here. We'll chat with you soon.
Good night.
Good night.